I still started on my end. All right, we're live.
All right, we're live. So if you're watching the replay or hopping on, apologies for the extra emails. We were doing this over different time zones and for the link not working on our original live. I own that. So thank you for your patience, everyone out there. With that, welcome to Decode Disrupt, where insight is interruption. I'm Nicolette.
And I'm Gabby.
Ooh, we're talking about something super juicy today, y'all. Boundaries.
Boundaries, but not just the internet version, not the TikTok version, not your social media besties version. Today we're not talking about the copy and paste version. We're talking about like what boundaries actually are.
Yep, what they actually are and why people struggle with them.
Yes, and why creating them can sometimes feel like grief, guilt, freedom, and self-respect all at one time.
Yeah. So I like to start these episodes off on why. The why we do anything is really important. And in life, it's like if you use intention, why are you doing things? So why is this topic important to me? Real talk, I'm still learning to implement boundaries. If we look at the intersection of why boundaries are hard, in my opinion, it can come from traumatic childhoods, trauma in life, the body you're born into, how you express yourself, your workplace, your gender. I already said your gender, your culture. Just so many things coming at you saying, no, be in line, be small, be obedient, just be easy. And so boundaries are hard for me because I'm an empath, I'm a lover, and I feel everything. I just want things to be easy and peaceful. But that's not always good for me or everyone involved. So that's why this topic is super important to me. How about you, Gabby?
For me, I think for me it's important. Boundaries are important because I used to think boundaries meant confrontation, and I'm a huge personality, and a lot of people can't take me. I'm extra and eccentric in every sense of the word. So I felt like saying no meant I would be disappointing somebody. But I think I'm coming to terms with the fact that boundaries aren't necessarily rejection. They're clarity. That's how I see it now. And clarity can sometimes feel uncomfortable when you've spent your entire life being available beyond your capacity.
Damn, when Gabby opens her mouth, every word, I just want to like take it and dissect it. So y'all need to rewatch and rewind that one.
Yeah.
Welcome, Dr. Art, to the.
Hey, Dr. Art.
Thanks for being here. We welcome everyone to just pop into the chat anytime you resonate, you have a question. We really appreciate that. So we're moving into the decode part of the episode. So this is where we're going to explore what a boundary is, why people misunderstand boundaries, they're hard to implement, and why they feel uncomfortable at first. So we kind of touched on that. So Gabby, why don't you start off on helping us understand how boundaries are information?
Okay, so yeah, what is a boundary? I see boundaries as information. They communicate what feels safe to you, what feels respectful for you, how you perceive respect, what you have capacity for, what you choose to participate in, and what you choose to no longer participate in. A boundary is not necessarily a punishment. It's more, this is where I end and someone else begins. Um, Boundaries, in my honest opinion, boundaries reveal your relationship with yourself.
Okay, thank you for sharing that. So boundaries often explore, like you said, our relationship to ourselves. So that means your self-worth, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So this uncovers and unpacks guilt patterns, right? People pleasing, fear of abandonment. Oh my God, like I'm gonna get activated just talking about this. Fear of conflict, fear of being misunderstood, and fear of being perceived as selfish.
Yes, yes, especially depending on the role that you play within your familial dynamic or your work dynamic. Oftentimes, I'm just going to speak from my own perspective because that's the only perspective I can provide. The oldest daughter syndrome is, what I call it, and it seems to be a hot topic on TikTok. It has been for the past couple of years, where we almost felt like the second mom. We felt like we had to self sabotage for the sake of everybody else, and that's really not our role. It's not our role at all, you
Oh,
know.
yep, that is so true. So, I just want to share, if you're not familiar with yoga, right? In the West, we physically practice yoga. Like, let's go
Mhm.
bang out, a vinyasa practice at lunch, like
Yeah.
chaturangas, let's get those, arms in. But I had the experience of actually going to an ashram in Florida and having the experience of learning the philosophy and the system, which is such a good word, right? We think like super
Mhm.
woo. Yoga is actually a science and a philosophy,
It is.
right? And so it's a privilege to practice the postures. Okay. So there's like there's 8 limbs total. And the first 2 limbs are the yamas and the niyamas. And one is invited to study that with their guru or their master, right? In India, one on one,
Mhm.
and sit with things. And the very first limb or the cornerstone is ahimsa, which translates to non-harm or self-love.
That's interesting.
It is. And I still think that's a lifelong thing for human beings, is to really love themselves without condition, without someone validating themselves. So the reason why I share this is, if we really, really cared about our self-worth and self-love, then we wouldn't want to merge with others. That's what boundaries are, where one ends and one begins, right?
Absolutely.
So I just wanted to share that perspective of anyone, who practices yoga and doesn't know the science behind it. It's pretty deep. So
I learned something new. I didn't know there was science behind yoga.
uh-huh. Okay. So let's go a little deeper into why boundaries feel so hard, because they threaten old survival strategies.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. You basically have to dismantle and reassemble your entire behavior patterns once you learn to implement boundaries. And I think that can be the hard part for a lot of people, because a lot of people have a hard time letting go of the old, you know.
Hmm.
Whether that's the old version of yourself, the old familial dynamic, the old work dynamic. Um, People have a hard time letting go of the old, because then you have the identity recalibration period that is uncomfortable for most. And that's why most people stay stuck. And that's why a lot of people fail to effectively implement boundaries. That's just my personal opinion.
I think there's some truth in that. And I would add to that, when people, okay, so you're trying out boundaries, right? And people, like family, they're hardest with people or interact with on a daily basis, lover, like close, right, interaction. And they're like, that's not the Gabby or the Nicolette I knew yesterday. Like,
Yep.
why, what is this? And they're gonna push back, whether it's
Who goes with me?
they're gonna be like, nah, it's harder.
Hmm.
And as organisms, if we go back to biology, we're all just trying to survive and follow
Absolutely.
the path of least resistance, where we're not expending energy. So someone's gonna be like, nah, no.
Absolutely.
So that's where we get even more of a challenge, to be like, no, I said no. And do we like that? Fuck no, that's confrontation. That's uncomfortable.
Yeah, I'm not gonna repeat myself. I'm just gonna walk away or hang up the phone. Like, I'm just not gonna, and that's my boundary, right? That's like, I'm not repeating myself is a boundary for me. You heard me the first time.
Let's take a page out of Gabby's book.
Yeah, like, walk away or hang up the phone.
Oh, because let me give you the other example of that. That this is me. It's like, oh, let me hold you. Let me hold your
Yeah,
emotions. Let me hold your pain. I ain't doing that no more. And that
no,
feels like death and murder. It just feels so bad for sensitive, empathic beings. But
absolutely.
I really love the I don't want to call it juxtaposition, but the balance that Gabby and I bring to this, because if we were the same, like, that's why life
Yeah,
is fun and exciting. If we were
yeah.
all the same, how would we fucking learn? Like, I appreciate how I want to be like Gabby.
No, I want to be more like you. I want to learn the science of yoga.
That's
Bring another aspect to the practice, because I go for fitness reasons. I'm not gonna lie.
all. We can dive deeper in that, because it is beautiful once you understand that all the religions are actually saying the same thing.
Oh, I absolutely know that.
Hello. That's where I'm like,
I'm aware. I'm aware.
so different topic, different day.
Different topic, different day.
All right. So let's bring this back into really itemizing why boundaries feel so hard. Okay. So we're kind of like paying, but everything's coming together.
Yes.
This is like keeping the peace at your expense, which I did my whole fucking life. Okay.
Yep. Same, same. That's why I'm the way I am now.
Okay. I tangent. How can you say how old you were in Earth years? I'm so curious when you're just like, nope, my boundaries are
Oh, I'm 38 now.
really?
Yeah, I just look really young. Yeah,
Damn.
most people think I'm in my 20s, but no.
Wow. So when did you start like what age?
Well, I've always been like this, right? I think around age 25, when I converted to Buddhism. So there's this place in my life where everything can trace back to 2015 when I converted to Buddhism. And Buddhism just opened my perspective in so many areas of my life beyond just a belief system, right? Because
Okay.
Buddhism to me isn't, I don't see Buddhism as a religion. I see it more as a lifestyle, you
Mm,
know, everything that comes with the practice, you know, um, the fitness aspect of it, because there's a fitness aspect to Buddhism that people don't know, the eating aspect of it, um, and also the behavioral aspect. Like there's so many aspects to Buddhism that people don't see. They just say, "Oh, that's just this in the West, at least. Oh, that's this little quirky religion." They worship Buddha. First of all, we don't worship anybody. you know, there's that piece that people don't understand. We don't. Oh, you rub the Buddha's belly and you work. No, we don't worship Buddha. You know.
thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Yes. We're gonna have to unpack that. I'm so curious. So many questions. Stay on topic, Nicolette.
Yeah.
Okay. So boundaries feel hard because over explaining to be understood. Like Abby said, why can't I say no and walk away?
You can.
I can. It's
You can.
uncomfortable. All
Hmm.
right. Performing availability to feel valuable.
I've done that part too.
Huh.
Yep.
I think a lot of people can resonate with that one, especially in workplaces or,
Oh, absolutely.
yeah. Okay. Tolerating misalignment to avoid rejection.
I I've I haven't. I wouldn't say I've done this one. I wouldn't say I struggle with it because I have no problem being by myself.
Okay.
I've never had issue being by myself.
Ah, okay. So my brain didn't understand that one. So correct me if I'm not, correct me if I'm wrong. So, for example, hanging out with just anybody because I'm lonely and I don't want to feel right, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And that's
Tolerate
misalignment.
misalignment. Yep.
Think about the time we're wasting not so that I don't feel lonely. And there's time and space for when that's appropriate. But the less
Yep.
you can do that, then the more aligned you are. Okay.
Yeah. Especially when I was in my clubbing days, people that knew me. I knew I always asked one question. Oh, we're gonna have this barbecue, or oh, we're all going out tonight. You should come. And my first question was, who all gonna be there? Because I don't like misalignment. Like there's certain character traits that I don't like. There's certain personality traits that I don't like. I don't like rude people. I don't like it's really rude. I hate rude people like with a passion. So yeah, so that's my question. Like who all gonna be? So I've always in some capacity never really liked misalignment. If somebody was there that I didn't want to be around, I wouldn't go. You
Ooh,
know.
I love
Yeah.
it. And hey, Marlena found us. Thank you. I know
Hey Marlena.
some link
So,
shit.
so what you guys are friends now? Are best friends now? Hey Marlena. Thank you for the introduction. She's my bestie.
The three of us need to do something because that's
Oh,
gonna work.
she's definitely coming on an episode.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Okay.
Marlena's too knowledgeable. We
Yes.
need her.
That'll be so much fun, Marlena. We need to figure out a topic and schedule that.
Yeah.
Okay. Coming back to why boundaries feel so hard. Um, okay, choosing discomfort with others over discomfort with yourself. And I know Gabby can speak to this one.
Yeah, so choosing discomfort with others over choosing discomfort with yourself. So what I mean when I said that was um we're it's almost like self-sacrifice, right? We sacrifice our own comfort for the comfort of others. And I'm guilty of this one too for a while, because I want everybody to feel, because I'm like a very happy-go-lucky person all the time. And for some reason, people find that to be an issue. I never understood why people have issues with happy-go-lucky people. I just want to be happy and be left alone. But people have issues with happy-go-lucky people. So I'm like, no, you can be happy too. Just choose to be happy. Choose happiness. To me, it was simple. But yeah, so staying in situations or around personalities that just, they envied your natural light, or they envied how you can just persevere, and
Mm,
the way is sacrificing your own peace, your own comfort,
mm. Thank you.
to try to impart wisdom or give comfort to somebody else.
Awesome.
Because we people please. Yes, Marlena, we're getting out of our people pleasing tendencies.
That one I'm so done with. I threw her in the fire and she's like, I don't want to leave. I keep
Yeah, no, she's gone.
she's
She's dead
gone.
and
Like
gone.
under the Sagittarius full moon, can I say? Getting
Oh, yes, it
that
is the Sagittarius full moon
blue moon too, second full moon in a month. There's just
of the
too much
month. Yeah.
wisdom that needs to be named right now. And the fact that we're convening at that time, make no mistake,
Yes. Makes
living
no.
your truth, living your truth, higher
Yes.
perspectives, travel broad, farther reach. Like if you don't like your beliefs, then you need to get some new ones. Like if they're not serving you.
Let him go.
Period.
There's another creator I follow on here, and I want her on the episode too. But she does these Saturday weekly newsletters where she just talks about her week and her day, and then one of her segments in her newsletter is basically like what she learned this weekend. What she learned was you can really do whatever you want to do. Like we're not confined to anything. You can really just make things up as you go. And I just thought that was so great. I reposted her article last week because of that. I'm like, yeah, because you really can't just do what you want.
I 100% agree. And I take that page out of, do you know Esther Hicks and Abraham Hicks, The Law of Attraction?
Yes, yes,
I went deep, heavy into that shit for like 8 years straight. And the nuggets I got from that is like, if you really believe that you can be anything, do anything, and have anything, then what's stopping you?
exactly,
And I've been
exactly.
saying that shit since like 2017. And did my life reflect it at the time? No.
No, because we only implement because and I don't want to go on another tangent. We can do an episode about this about. But you need to look up Elixium. She did a phenomenal article on this. I love her. First of all, her mind is
Mm,
genius. But she did a phenomenal breakdown of Abraham uh Hicks's um law of attraction.
mhm.
And what she found was most people just stay surface level. They just want to do the vision boards. It's all like, oh, I'm gonna attract this. It's beyond attraction because you have the second part of that. You can do anything. You have to put action behind it. In order to attract, you have to do the action. And so that's the piece that most people miss. And that's why to tie it back together. That's why your life didn't reflect that in 2017. And I'm not getting on you because I did the same thing. We all took it at a very surface level thing. Like, no, I can just call it in. I can imagine in my mind. I can look at my vision board when I wake up in the morning and I'm gonna have my dream life. That's not how it works.
I love that. And there's nothing wrong with that. And that's the first step. Okay.
That is the first
And
step.
that's
It's
why
believing.
our podcast is actually aligned with what we learned is you need to take action. And so when we
Yes.
move through our episodes, we leave you with takeaways and action because we want us
Yes.
to move differently through the world. So to bring it back to today's topic on why boundaries are so hard, we're going to tie it to the nervous system. And I know the nervous system is a word or a concept that could be overplayed, but if you're really not taking care of that, it rules your life. It determines how safe you feel in any environment where you lose yourself.
Yes.
Okay. So we're going to have a whole separate topic on this, but in relation to boundaries, your body learned boundaries can feel dangerous even when it's healthy. Like if your organism doesn't feel safe, you're going to continue to do the same thing.
Absolutely.
So that's why we're trying to talk about capacity and creating safety so that you can play with and experiment operating differently because people are going to push you back and they're usually not going to be supportive.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. So can you talk to me about what the body learned?
So with the body learn, the nervous system act piece of it is saying no often creates conflict. It's because, and I say that because a lot initially there will be pushback, right? Especially from those that are used to you operating at a certain capacity or in a certain role, there will be pushback. But you have to go beyond that initial pushback because the boundary won't be implemented if you retreat at the first pushback. So saying no, it will create conflict initially, but you have to push beyond that. Just keep at it, right?
Mhm.
Taking space causes abandonment. Um, a lot of times, um, a lot of times when we go after what we want, right? Or we implement, I'm gonna use it in the sense of a boundary. Um, when we take up space, a lot of people get intimidated by that, right?
Mhm.
So you're gonna see a lot. You won't have as much support, right? And you have to learn to operate solo or in isolation. You have to just find a way to keep going. Having these make you difficult. A lot of people are gonna say you're difficult, but that's just gaslighting, right? That's just them because you mirror back to them the decisions they refuse to make or the changes they refuse to make, right? So they're gonna call you difficult, but that's just gaslighting. Just keep doing you. And disappointing people makes you feel unsafe. You know, initially, if your nervous system is wired a certain way, you have to it needs to relearn other ways, right? You have to create those new neural pathways, you
Mhm.
know. So just as long as your boundaries are healthy, just keep at it.
All of those are so special to me, like, especially with trauma, like, just knowing that you're gonna be alone for a little while, you know what I mean? You
Yeah,
didn't do anything wrong.
yeah,
I don't know, y'all. Replay that last thing, those points Gabby went over, because keep
yeah,
that like in the Bible for yourself. It's really helpful. So here's a key line for y'all. We touched upon this earlier, but boundaries often feel hardest in the relationships where they're needed most.
yep.
This could be with
Say that again.
I know
Say
boundaries
that
often feel hardest in the relationships. What? Where they're
where
needed.
they're needed the most. Because you're gonna get the most pushback from the people that benefited from you playing smaller, right? That's where you're gonna get the pushback from. But you just have to keep pushing. Like, no, this is my boundary. I'm hanging up now. Bye.
Yeah, and if they love you and they love themselves, which it all comes back to self-worth, then they'd be like, "I
Yep,
love that for you. I'm gonna work with you. It's gonna be uncomfortable, but I'm willing to do this with you."
absolutely.
Saying,
Absolutely.
here's an additional key line. A boundary isn't about controlling anyone, because if we're all sovereign and free will, so if we're trying to control, that's like manipulation. Hello.
Yep,
We're not here to do that. You don't want that, so why would you do it on others? We're done with that era of manipulation.
absolutely.
It's deciding what I will do when a boundary is crossed. We just unpacked that for the last 15 minutes. It's going to feel
Yes.
uncomfortable. We're going to have to be quiet. We're going to have to be alone. Marlena, right? We've been alone for how many years? We're like, where are people at? Because we're pruning. We're coming home to ourselves. We're practicing a new operating system.
Yep. And what that brings to mind with me, I'm gonna give you an example. A boundary isn't about controlling someone else's behavior. It's deciding what you will do if a line is crossed. So for me, I created a boundary, and I tell everyone this when I date. I say I have a 3 month rule. If I don't see this going nowhere within 3 months, I cut it off. I say that up front and in the beginning, right? I'm just honest about it, right?
I like that.
That's yeah, because I don't want to waste my time. It's about time. It's time. It's not. It's about not wasting my time,
Mm.
right? So I tell everybody that up front, and somebody finally questioned me on that. Like she was like, "Well, I don't want you to not like me because you decided in 3 months." I said, "Oh, that 3 month rule isn't for you. That's a rule for me. This isn't. I don't say that to control how you act or react to anything. I'll
Mm.
let you know that if I don't see, I'm not trying to control your behavior. I'm being upfront and honest about me. That is so I don't go past. And so in 3 months, I sit and evaluate and see what's working, what's not working, and then I cut the relationship or I continue it.
Wow. I really
It
like
doesn't, yeah, it doesn't mean that our relationship ends in 3 months. If in 3 months we're still fine, we're still fine.
mm.
I evaluate at the 3 month mark.
Can I ask you how they received it when you said that boundary was for you and not for them?
Yeah, she received it.
It
She
was
received
cool. And that because she
it.
understood.
She understood, yeah. But she was emotionally mature enough to understand. Not everyone is.
Mm.
And it's funny that she was because of her emotional maturity. She asked about. She's the only one to ever ask about that.
See, that's another
Most,
thing where it's like, yeah, you showed me who you are. And if
yeah, most people think like, oh, you just want to be non-committal. No,
oh,
it's not. I had someone tell me that. Oh, you're just not. What? No, that's not what it is.
yeah. Okay. All right. Well, let's move into the disrupt portion.
Yes, now this is my favorite part. We're disrupting. So, what are we challenging, right? We're
Hmm.
challenging the belief that boundaries are mean. That's what we're challenging today, right? So, many people confuse boundaries with rejection, punishment, attitude, withdrawal, and emotional distance. But boundaries aren't aggression, they're clarity. The belief that loves, Oh, so the first belief that we're going to dismantle is that love means unlimited access. It is not. Why have we normalized that love means unlimited access? Because immediate access, constant emotional availability, replying instantly, oversharing without consent, and crossing limits in the name of closeness, right? None of that is love. None of that is love. That's what we've normalized as love, right? But just because it's normal doesn't mean it's healthy. It doesn't mean it's right. It doesn't mean that it should forever be tolerated. If you decide that immediate access to you or constant emotional availability isn't something you want to do, you don't have to do it. And you can reserve that for the people in your life that you feel deserve it. Everyone isn't entitled to that. Everyone isn't entitled to an instant reply in a text message or for you to overshare or share something you don't want to share. Um, so that's for you to decide. It's not on someone else to gaslight you into saying, well, you don't do this, this, and this. Well, I don't want to. And that's my line this year. I don't want to.
I don't want to go too deep into this, but
Okay.
why do you think it's normal that we've been doing this for so long as a collective, like immediate access? Just so that we have an understanding of why it's been normal and why we're disrupting it. Can you speak to that?
I really can't speak to it. If I had to guess, I think it's the culture that we live in, the dating culture we live in. I think it's that instant, especially now, it's the instant gratification, the ability to constantly access via social media if you don't have someone's personal number. That's just me thinking off the top of my head why we've normalized the media access. I think it's the instant. I think it boils back down to instant gratification.
I agree with that because to me, I'm hearing it's systemic.
Yes.
It's like with the advance of technology and like to me it reminds me of Blackberries. It just shows my age. Like once you're like chained to a job that has you fucking on hook all the time,
You know,
that
autopilot.
normalized why didn't you reply? You know? And
Yeah.
then now we have read receipts on top of it. So that fucks with your mental if you let it.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. No. Seriously.
Like,
Oh. Okay.
oh, like if you're dating someone and you're already like touchy and you're like, why didn't they reply? They read it and then they told me they're going to be out with this person and then I can go on social media and know where they are. Like, dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I bring that up because that's why it's harder to disrupt and do things differently because of the way culture, society is interacting right now.
Yes. Marlena said, I feel like it started before social media. Marlena, I would love to have you articulate that. If you
Please.
please.
Yeah, I want to know what that means because yeah, I'm really curious about that. Okay.
And I love the tip you said. I didn't care if I would tell anyone I might just mental note it to myself so that they don't just act for 3 months. No, you're right. But I'll let them know up front. But I see I'm so educated in psychology and my background in psychoanalytics that I can see an act from takes me I can dissect human behavior in less than 30 minutes. Like I can tell you the type of person you are in 30 minutes or less. Like
Yeah,
so yeah, I'm not worried about that. Someone acting. I see through too much.
the
Um
pattern recognition is kind of like oof.
yeah, see through it.
Uh-huh.
I had a conversation with somebody, this girl that liked me a couple weeks ago, and she was telling me, "Oh, I'm so emotionally intelligent. Oh, I'm this, I'm that." First 5 minutes on the phone, I had her dissected within 5 minutes. I'm like, no,
I'm like, if you have to say it, I'm kind of like, that's like my first
exactly.
thing. I'm like, oh, you're one of those who like one of my ex-partners was, I know all the therapy words, but I don't embody them. I even have my own therapist going, you don't need therapy.
Yeah,
Okay.
wow.
Anyway, okay. So over explaining boundaries. Sometimes
Yes,
healthy boundaries sound simple and they can be complete sentences. No is a complete sentence.
yep,
This doesn't work for me. I'm unavailable for that. I need more time before responding. I'm trying to
yep,
practice, let me think about it or I'll get back to you. You know,
yep,
I'm not comfortable continuing this conversation.
yep.
Just stop. And I want to practice that because it's like, right? And then, so
Absolutely.
do you have anything more to add to over explaining boundaries and how simple they can be?
No dissertation is required. That's all I got to add.
You're not getting your PhD in people pleasing. Y'all just stop.
No, we're not. We are not. Do you not feel exhausted by being able to do that? By being able to do what, Marlena? I wish I could send a voice note. Oh, I asked her to explain the social media thing. She can't. Oh, yeah. I'm
I feel
sorry.
you. Typing's a lot. I hear you. Okay.
It is.
Moving on.
Oh,
Resentment.
resentment as a boundary issue. So, powerful discussion point. Resentment is often a delayed boundary. Resentment shows up after a boundary has been crossed that wasn't articulated, right? So, sometimes resentment is what builds when we keep saying yes after we mean no. We remain accessible beyond capacity, and we tolerate what we haven't named. So,
So,
not what you said. Go ahead. So,
uh,
not implementing boundaries will ultimately return into the resentment.
yes. And this is a key one. Self abandonment can be disguised as kindness. I mean,
Yep.
y'all, if, it doesn't even matter which lane you pick to break this one down. This comes down to customer service. This one comes down to just politeness in society.
Yep.
I live in the South, like kindness, but at what cost?
Mm-hmm.
So we're challenging that. We're usually the ones who give grace. Yes. We're usually the ones who say,
Yep.
oh, it's patience and maturity, and we're the understanding one, and we're the flexible one. Yes, but if we're doing all the work and the emotional labor while other people are not,
Yep.
that's self abandonment.
Underneath it all is self abandonment.
Correct. And if we go down to like psychology and like, I forget, like CBT or cognitive behavioral therapy, like mind reading, people can't read your mind and they're going to act the way they act. And if you don't like it, you're half of that thing. So you're not speaking your needs or truth. So are they on the hook? Not all. Like you need to speak up and say, I don't like the way you're treating me.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yep.
what's the key line here?
The absence of boundaries doesn't create closeness, it creates confusion for you. And maybe for the other person, but mainly for you.
Mm,
Because when you start feeling that self abandonment and resentment coming in, you're confused as to, and especially if you haven't done the shadow work or the self work or the therapy work to name what it is, you're gonna feel confusion. You know, if you don't have the language for it, you're gonna feel the confusion.
wow. But I feel like sometimes when we're trauma bonding, we feel close when we don't have boundaries. So that's another topic for another day.
Yeah,
And another key line on top of this is resentment is often what happens when honesty was needed earlier.
absolutely.
Imagine the pain we could have saved or relationships we could have saved if we practiced honesty and vulnerability earlier. We could even say things like, I don't know how this is going to come across. I don't know how, I just need to say this and I'm not trying to hurt you. Like, I think people are just scared because they think it needs to be perfect.
Yeah, it doesn't.
No. All right. Welcome to the recalibration part of the show. Mm. What's our
Okay.
prompt?
So this is the question for you guys, all the listeners, especially Marlena, since she's the only one participating with us today. Um, where in your life are you asking for peace without creating the conditions for peace? So I'm gonna repeat that. Where in your life currently are you asking for peace without creating the conditions for peace? Right. So sometimes we ask for peace or we talk to someone and the conversation isn't complete, right? Because either one, you're not articulating your boundaries or your needs or your wants, or two, you haven't done the self-reflection to even know what they are, right? I think that's the biggest one. A lot of people don't self-reflect and aren't self-aware enough to know what it is that they need or want, you know. And that's why boundaries are important.
I think that's super important. And we touched upon that in last week's episode is who self-reflects, who's self-aware. It's just taking time to yourself to sit with yourself. And the first things are what would make me feel peaceful in my life right now before I go fucking date 20 people and bring chaos to them. Just saying.
Absolutely.
Just
Absolutely.
saying.
Yep.
All right, listeners. Here's some more offerings for you to really digest and process this. Notice where you feel recurring, which means continuing resentment. Okay. Or excuse me, let me rephrase that. I messed that up. Notice where you feel recurring or ongoing resentment, dread,
Yep.
emotional exhaustion. Who drains you? Who doesn't fill your cup, right?
Yep.
Tension before, or I would even say seeing after someone. So you get that like, oh, I have to hang out with them. But why do you still
Yep.
hang out with them, dude? Like, what?
Exactly.
Why? Anxiety before replying. So you get a note and you're like, oh, ah, it doesn't
Yeah.
flow. Like that's a signal. That's a signal. Something ain't right there. And guilt after saying yes. So yeah, it makes you feel important to be invited to something or asked to do something. But then if you feel guilty right away, you need to check that.
Yep. Absolutely. Because that feeling may not be random. That may be a boundary asking to be acknowledged, right?
Hmm.
So some takeaways. Choose one area this week. So this is for you guys. This is a challenge for you guys. So the question you're gonna answer is, where in your life are you asking for peace without creating the conditions for peace? And the takeaway, how you're gonna action that. So this week you're gonna choose one area, whether that's work, family, friendship, dating, communication, access to your time, access to your body, or access to your emotional labor. And then ask, what would protecting my peace look like here in action? Right?
Yeah. So you get to take assessment of your life in any circle. Again, work, family, friendships, dating, the way you communicate, who has access to your time, your body, and your emotional labor. So, you want to do all great, but, do less first. Start with one. Then
Yep.
ask that question Gabby asked you. What would protecting my peace look like in action, not some fantasy? Right? So you're starting to
Yep.
go, okay, how do I take this from a big concept and overwhelm? And oh, that was a nice podcast I listened to. Actually apply
Hmm.
in your real life so you see the change. So here's some examples. You're going to practice the one boundary you came up with. For example, delay your response instead of answering immediately. How about the next one, Gabby?
Say no without apologizing 5 times. Just say no. Just I don't want to do it.
That's Gabby's
I'm not
motto
doing it.
way
I don't
lately.
want to. I don't want to. It's my line. I don't want to.
No. No, see, sent period. No.
I don't
Um,
want to.
Another example, ask for space before reacting. How about that?
Yep. Stop explaining a decision repeatedly. Say it once.
I'm
And then
guilty.
hang up the phone. And then hang up the phone.
I'm over here like, does that make sense? I go into dissertation mode. I'm like, not doing it no
Yeah.
more. You want to pay me for my
Yeah.
services. Another example, leave earlier. Say, I can't commit to that. And communicate capacity honestly, which I've been practicing.
Yep.
I don't have capacity for that right now. My bandwidth's low. I'm
Yep.
running out of steam. Like instead of me pushing, another topic, I got an autoimmune disease because I never fucking spoke my truth and knew my capacity. And that was a 10-year healing journey. So I'm not going back that way. No chance.
Yep. A boundary is not a wall against connection. It's a structure that allows healthy connection to exist. Remember that. So before you go to feeling guilty, remember it's still connection. You can still connect to people, right? Don't be scared to implement a boundary. The people that fall away because you communicate a boundary aren't your people, anyways. And they don't have your best interest at heart. They're there for the benefit of you. They want to benefit from you without reciprocating. So if you communicate a boundary and someone immediately has an issue with it, one, that either uneducated on boundaries, or two, they just want to benefit from you. And I think it's the latter, more often than not.
Exactly. Because you might, and this is a both and thing. Like you can be with people who have great qualities or you enjoy things out of them and they don't honor your boundaries. And that's what makes it
Yeah.
hard to walk away. Right. And
Yep.
that's an individual thing we all have to assess and practice. And it's an ongoing thing.
Yep.
All right, y'all. Thank you so much for your time and your energy. And even if you're watching this later, we want to hear from you. So message us, tell us what hit, what's confusing, what's working, what's not. We're here together. And let's close this thing, Gabby.
All right. If something in this conversation disrupted you, sit with that.
Especially if your discomfort showed up as guilt.
because guilt doesn't always mean you're doing something wrong.
Sometimes guilt is just what growth feels like when you stop abandoning yourself.
This is Decode Disrupt.
And this is where insight meets interruption, y'all.
See you next week.
Bye.